My name is Ethan, and I'd always been a skeptic when it comes to ghosts and haunted places. But a few months ago, I experienced something that made me question everything. My friends and I decided to explore the old Harris house on the edge of town. It had been abandoned for decades, and the rumors about it being haunted intrigued us. We thought it would be a thrilling adventure. The house was everything you'd expect: dark, decrepit, and shrouded in an unsettling silence. The floorboards creaked with every step, dust coated every surface, and cobwebs hung in the corners. We brought flashlights and cameras, joking nervously about ghosts. But as we wandered through, the atmosphere grew heavier, and an unnatural silence surrounded us. While exploring the basement, we discovered an old mirror covered with a thick, dusty sheet. Pulling off the sheet, we saw the mirror's surface marred with strange, faded writing. It looked like names and dates, but they were smudged and hard to read. We tried to photograph it, but our camera's flash flickered erratically, and the room grew colder. "What do you think it says?" I asked, squinting at the writing. "I can't make it out," Sarah said, her voice trembling. "But it doesn't look good." A cold breeze swept through the basement, causing us all to shiver. We heard footsteps coming from upstairs, slow, deliberate, and unnervingly clear. We froze, thinking it was one of us playing a prank. But when we checked, everyone was still with us. We returned to the basement, only to find the mirror had moved. The writing had changed to "Help me," the letters smeared and desperate. Panic set in. We rushed to the front door, but it wouldn't open. No matter how hard we pulled or pushed, it remained shut. Whispers filled the air, growing louder and more insistent, though there was no one there. We tried everything to get the door open, our efforts growing frantic. "What is happening?" Mark shouted, his voice filled with fear. "Why won't it open?" "I don't know," I shouted back, my heart pounding. "We have to get out." Time felt like it had stopped as we struggled with the door. It seemed like hours before it finally burst open with a loud crash. We scrambled outside, gasping for fresh air. As we looked back, we saw the windows of the house glowing with a dim, ghostly light. It was a sight that will haunt me forever. None of us returned to the house after that night. The experience left us deeply shaken. The house was eventually demolished, replaced by a new office building, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something had been trapped inside, desperately trying to get out. The nightmares began almost immediately. Vivid dreams of being trapped in that house, the whispers growing louder, and the mirror's desperate message echoing in my mind. Weeks later, Sarah called me, her voice trembling with fear. "Ethan, have you been having any strange dreams recently?" "Yes," I admitted. "Why do you ask?" "Mark and I have too. We need to talk." We met at a diner, and as we shared our experiences, it became clear that we had all been haunted by the same nightmares. It was as if whatever had been in that house had followed us. "Do you think it's still with us?" Sarah asked, her eyes wide with worry. "I'm not sure," I replied, feeling a chill run down my spine. "But we need to do something." Determined to find answers, we began researching the house's history. What we uncovered was deeply unsettling. The Harris house had a grim reputation. Several families had lived there, all reporting strange and frightening occurrences. The last family had vanished without a trace, leaving behind the same cryptic, "Help me" message on the mirror. We realized that ignoring the situation wasn't an option. We had to confront whatever was causing these disturbances. With a mix of fear and resolve, we returned to the site where the house once stood. Armed with whatever knowledge we had about spirit communication, we performed a simple ritual, hoping to bring peace to the restless spirits. As we completed the ritual, a sense of calm seemed to settle over the area. The whispers and feelings of being watched faded, and the nightmares stopped. For the first time in months, I felt a semblance of peace. Despite this, the site where the house had once stood still gave me chills. People still talk about the Harris house, now more legend than fact. Some say the spirits were finally laid to rest when the house was demolished, but I remain uncertain. I avoid old, abandoned places now, convinced that some ghost stories are more real than I once believed. If you're thinking of exploring a haunted house, remember my story. Some places should remain undisturbed, and some mysteries are better left unsolved.